for another two.
Oh, good morning to those who are joining from Estonia and around, and good afternoon to the rest of the participants from Asia, including Hong Kong, China, Bangladesh, India, Malaysia, and Sri Lanka. And also for those who are joining from Australia, I hope it's also good evening to you, especially Yashoda. Yeah. So my name is Dolmini Nanakara, a research fellow in Estonian University of Life Sciences, and I'll be the moderator for today's event. So I'm thrilled to welcome you all for today's online workshop, Beyond the Basics, Advanced Techniques in Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. So today's event consists of 3 lectures. Dr. Nilakshi Barua, she will talk about or give an introduction to systematic review and meta-analysis. And then Ms. Liuyue Bella, she will talk about the Covidence, a tool for systematic reviews. And finally, Mr. Nannur Rahman, he will talk about the strategic approaches to systematic review development, Prospero registration, and meta-analysis techniques. So let me invite our first speaker for today. It's Dr. Nilakshi Barua. The topic for the day will be Introduction to Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. Dr. Nilakshi's research interest includes studying antimicrobial resistance in both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, as well as research in the gut microbiome. Additionally, she's involved in 3D skin culture and utilizing C. elegans as an infection model. Today, all our 3 speakers are from the Department of Microbiology, Faculty of Medicine, Prince of Wales Hospital, the Chinese University of Hong Kong. So, Dr. Nilakshi, please, it's your turn.
Yeah. Thank you, Dulmini. Hello, everybody. A very good morning. Welcome to today's online workshop, Beyond the Basics, Advanced Techniques in Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. This workshop is designed to offer a comprehensive understanding of systematic review, including its purpose, benefits, and importance in research. As participants, you will gain practical knowledge and skills on how to conduct a systematic review, such as the process of selecting studies, data extraction, and analyzing. I would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation for your presence in this workshop. Please feel free to ask questions. I will share the screen now. So today, as Dr. Dulmini has said, we have 3 research personnel to deliver the talks. I am Nilakshi. I would be giving an introduction on systematic review and meta-analysis, followed by Miss Bella Liuyue Yang. So she would give a talk on Covidence platform, how to use it and how to use it for extracting the data. And lastly, Mr. Nannur Rahman, who's going to talk about how to register your protocol of systematic review in Prospero and also how to do a meta-analysis. First of all, we would like to acknowledge Alliance of International Science Organizations Collaborative Research for the financial support which has made this workshop possible. As a part of our ENSO project, the title of which is a Belt and Road Platform to Track and Tackle MRSA disease and carriage, elucidating their antimicrobial and biocide resistance, genetic diversity, and transmission dynamics between humans, animals, and environment. We are honored to co-host this online event, which aims to provide all the participants with the valuable insights and knowledge on systematic review. Coming to the introduction of systematic review and meta-analysis. So, first of all, what is the review article? So, a review article analyzes research in primary source and summarizes the current state of research on a given topic. So, what is the purpose of a review article? The purpose is to summarize the research topic, to compile the all the current knowledge and methodologies available for that particular topic, and the most important part, to identify a research gap. So currently there are around 14 types of reviews available, and out of which I'm going to just discuss few of them. The first one is critical review. Critical review and systematic reviews have the same objective, which is to synthesize studies on a given topic. However, a systematic review does it in a standardized way, where while a critical review does not. The second one is systematic maps, which provides an overview of evidence, distribution, and abundance in relation to a broad policy or management question. A scoping review, on the other hand, it provides an outline of a possibly extensive and varied range of literature on a broad subject, in contrast to a systematic review, which aims to gather empirical evidence for a relatively smaller set of studies that relate to a specific research question. Rapid reviews utilize modified systematic review methods to expedite the review process while maintaining transparency, reproducibility, and the systematic method. An umbrella review is essentially a review of reviews. So, the most important thing to note is that the selection of the review types out of this 14 types is wholly dependent on the research question, and that all research questions may not be suitable for a systematic review. Coming to this narrative reviews. So, a narrative review is a type of review that goes beyond an opinion or commentary. It involves an extensive description and interpretation of previously published articles on a particular topic. This approach allows researchers to provide a comprehensive overview of the existing literature and provide deeper insights into the chosen subject. There are 3 steps for a narrative literature review, which include to define, the first step is to define the topic, and most importantly, to identify the audience for which you are writing this particular review. Then search of literature, and third step is to be critical about the topic you are reviewing. Coming to what is the systematic review? So, systematic reviews are a type of review that involves a thorough examination of evidence related to a well defined question. The reviews use systematic and well defined methods to identify, select, and critically evaluate relevant research. The review process also involves collecting and analyzing data from the studies included in the review. Conducting a systematic review is a complex process and demands a team of skilled professionals working together to ensure its success. The team typically includes a project manager or team leader who will oversee the review process from start to finish. This is followed by screeners who are responsible for screening and selecting relevant studies based on the predefined eligibility criteria. So there are minimum 2 screeners for the team where they will screen which study they want to include in the review and which one they want to exclude. And in case there is any conflict arising, say one screener wants to include it and the other screener wants to exclude the same study. So in this case, the project manager there will be a tiebreaker. So the project manager will decide whether to include or exclude that study. Then comes the role of a search specialist who is in charge of conducting a comprehensive literature search across different databases and other sources. And finally, in case you want to do a meta-analysis, a statistician will be included who is responsible for analyzing the data extracted from this included study and synthesizing the findings into a coherent narrative. Each team member here is responsible for a particular function. So, what are the key elements of a systematic review? The key elements are framing a question, identifying relevant publications, assessing the study quality, summarizing the evidence, interpreting the findings, and lastly, concluding the results. So, in this, a systematic review is a comprehensive and rigorous approach to summarizing the existing evidence on the specific clinical research question. It involves a meticulously review process on a that aims to minimize the bias of the reliable and produce some reliable findings. To start the review process, we need to frame a question which has to be well structured and there should be clear outlines of the research problem, like the participants or population of interest, the interventions or the exposures, and the outcomes or results of the interest. So this is where the PICO, the PICO format comes into play. So PICO is a widely used framework for structuring clinical research questions. It is an acronym that stands for patient or population, I is for intervention, C comparison, and O for outcome. The PICO format provides a clear and concise structure for researchers to define their research question and guide many aspects of the review process. To create a researchable question, the PICO format involves four key components. The first is the, as I said, patient or population component that specifies the characteristics of the individuals or group of people who are the focus of the research. Secondly, the intervention or exposure component describes the treatment or intervention being investigated. Third, the comparison component identifies any alternative interventions or exposures being compared to the main intervention. Finally, the outcome component outlines the specific outcomes or results that are of interest. By using PICO format to structure the research question, researchers can more effectively identify relevant studies, determine eligibility criteria, and extract data from the included studies. This results in a more focused and comprehensive systematic review that produces reliable and unbiased findings. Coming to the tools now which are used in a systematic review. These are some of the tools that can be used. So, systematic review, the first one that is used is RStudio in Excel. So, RStudio is a popular software tool used for data analysis, exploration, and modeling. It is an open source and user friendly platform that provides a range of statistical and graphical techniques. Researchers can use RStudio to clean, manage, and analyze that large set of data to extract the relevant data or the data they are interested in. Then comes SiteSpace. SiteSpace is also a very friendly Java application that allows researchers to visualize and analyze trends and patterns in literature. It is particularly useful to identify the most important authors, publications, and topics in a given field. With SiteSpace, the researcher, or you can map the intellectual structure of a field, identify the key players or researchers and detect the emerging trends of that particular research topic. Then comes bibliometrics. This tool is for importing and converting of data to R format, so which enables a researcher, to perform bibliometric analysis of publications or datasets. So it provides a large function of a range of functions for building and plotting metrics for co-citation and collaboration analysis. Bibliometric can also be used to identify the most cited authors, the journals, and publications of a specific given topic or field. Now coming to SciSpace. SciSpace is a AI powered tool which actually helps a researcher to read, understand, analyze the academic paper more efficiently. In systematic review, one can use SciSpace to extract the data or the key information that the researcher wants for analyzing. And SciSpace uses NLP, that is natural language processing, and machine learning algorithms to extract this key information from papers and provide the summary of the most important findings. SciSpace also provides visualizations of the key concepts, topics, and relationships in a paper. Coming to what are the advantages of systematic reviews? This approach minimizes bias in the process of finding, including, and synthesizing studies. Systematic review is actually a transparent approach which can be adopted to allow for the addition of future studies to this particular review. And over time, sound evidence can be developed cumulatively in a specific subject area. And a good systematic review should allow anyone else to conduct the same review and reach the same conclusion. But there are some limitations also of systematic review. So, when conducting a systematic review in the field of health promotion, it is very important for the researcher to consider that many of the limitations may arise. The first limitation is that the possibility of inconclusive results, which may occur due to the factors such as inadequate sample size or variations in study design. Another limitation may be that there are no trials or evidence available at all, which may be due to the scarcity of the studies conducted on a particular topic. And poor quality trials may also be a concern because these may not provide a reliable evidence to support the effectiveness of a health promotion intervention. In addition, some health interventions may be too complex to be tested through a trial, making it difficult to obtain conclusive evidence regarding their effectiveness. Moreover, even when this effective evidence of effectiveness exists, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that there will be a change in the practice. Other factors such as research constraints, organizational barriers, and individual attitudes and beliefs may also influence the adoption of the evidence-based health promotion practice. Therefore, one should acknowledge and carefully consider this limitation when conducting a systematic review. To ensure that the resulting evidence is reliable, informative, and relevant to the needs of practitioners, policymakers, and stakeholders in the field. Coming to meta-analysis. So what is meta-analysis? Meta-analysis is a statistical method that involves combining the results of multiple independent studies that have investigated the same research question and obtain a comprehensive estimate of the treatment effect. Meta-analysis is a very powerful tool that enables researchers to synthesize information from various sources and arrive to a more precise conclusion that would be possible by analyzing each study separately. Meta-analysis is typically conducted as a part of systematic review, which involves a comprehensive search of relevant literature to identify all relevant studies to meet a specific inclusion criteria. While not all systematic reviews include meta-analysis, but all meta-analysis are based on literature reviews. By synthesizing data for multiple studies, meta-analysis can help identify patterns inconsistencies, and potential barriers in an existing research, providing insights that can inform clinical practice, policy decision, and for future research direction. So the key elements of meta-analysis are to define, same as that of systematic review, is to define a research question, perform a literature search, select the studies, extract the data, analyze the data, and report this result. Coming to what are the advantages of doing a meta-analysis? A meta-analysis refers to a statistical technique used to combine and analyze data from multiple independent studies. This process can be carried out when there are several scientific studies that focus on the same question to derive a pooled estimate. According to the evidence-based medicine literature, meta-analysis is considered to be the most reliable and credible source of evidence. It compares study results, identifies patterns, and sources of disagreement. Here also, meta-analysis also has few limitations, which include poor quality and biased study. So these poor quality and biased study may also affect the treatment efficacy of a meta-analysis. And the averaging differences among heterogeneous studies, because these differences could also potentially affect clinical decisions. So meta-analysis part would be in detail discussed by Mr. Nannur Rahman. So I will stop here. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Nilakshi, for the nice introduction. So, do we have any questions for Dr. Nilakshi regarding this presentation? Till the participants get ready with their questions, let me go with the first question. So, when you were telling that the sample size or the population regarding this PICO thing, the population of interest can be biased when it comes to the sample collection. I mean, like when you extract the data. It also can that also be an issue when you do the like the meta-analysis also. So is there any way to reduce the biasness in case of meta-analysis part? Yeah, I understand that the systematic review part, we can reduce this by using inclusion, exclusion criteria and all these things. But then when it comes to the data analysis, the data can also be jammed in different papers. Like recently, we can see that in most of the papers. So what is your thoughts about this thing?
Yeah, in case of meta-analysis, we can reduce the biasness by actually going through the literature reviews and finding out the high quality research papers, and so also to identify the legitimate trials regardless of their results. So in that case, this would reduce the biasness in the meta-analysis.
Meaning that we should have a very good protocol, like
yes,
properly review the protocol to conduct the systematic review together with the meta-analysis. Yes. Thank you very much. Is there any more questions to Dr. Nilakshi? If not, we can go to our second speaker, Ms. Bella Liuyue. Sorry, Bella, if I mispronounce your name. So she is currently a PhD student with a research focus on the epidemiology of antimicrobial resistant bacteria. And today she will explain the Covidence, about the Covidence, a tool for this systematic review development. So over to you, Bella.
Yes, thanks. Hi everyone, I'm Bella from the Department of Microbiology, the Chinese University of And thanks for the invitation of Dr. Dumini. It's my pleasure to have a talk here on doing meta-analysis. And my part will be on introducing coevidence, and we'll first get to know what is coevidence, and then I will lead you through how to use coevidence step by step. And so as we already know that there are many reference management tools, but I would strongly recommend you use coevidence for doing systematic review and meta-analysis, as it is a web-based platform that streamlines your process of doing a comprehensive literature review. And you can actually conduct several different types of literature review on this platform, which including the systematic review and meta-analysis. It also allowed you to perform the paper screening, data extraction, and quality assessment, follow the orders in the Prisma workflow. And these are the key steps in doing the systematic review. Another advantage of this platform is that it allows the cooperation between authors that they could work together at the same time on this online platform. And meta-analysis usually require more than 2 reviewers to working together. So this platform will really allows you guys work more efficiently and better manage the review team. So, and I will show you how to use the coevidence. So let's get straight into the website. So this is the website, and you can start a new review by clicking Start a New Review, this button. And then you could put the review name here and also choose what is your review type, and also input your area of research, for example, medical and health science. And here there are, because this website, this tool is not free, so you have to check whether your university have a subscription for you. And for students in the CUHK, the subscription is free. So I have already created a demo for you, and let's get into the review. And this is the homepage of the review. And we have already import all the reference here. So when you search the papers from the database with the keywords you decide, you will download them in a for example, EndNote formats, and then you could directly import into this tool by clicking imports. And then you could also mark what database is from. And yeah, this is very simple. And then the first step, and then before you start the review, it's better to make some preliminary settings so it will work more systematically. So you can revise your review name here if you wanted to change your review topics. Want a little bit revise. And then you can, and then it's important to put the date of last search here. And because this is very important information that normally people will report it in their manuscript. And also put their searching strategy, which is the keywords combination from what you use to search in the databases. And also here, as we said earlier, that meta-analysis usually require more than 2 people to conduct the review. So here you can choose how many people is required for screening, food test review, and data extraction as well. And also you can choose which data extraction tool. There are 2 versions, so you just choose the one that you are more familiar with or looks better to you. So, and then click save, and then everything is inside here. So, and then in this line, we can see there's an eligible criteria. And here you can input all the criteria here. So every viewers could access to it, and everyone is screening the papers with the same criteria. And you can click highlight here, and then you can, it's a very useful function, I would say, because you can highlight all the keywords related to your inclusion criteria in green and the exclusion criteria in red. So when you have to read hundreds of abstract and title per day, you can use this function to help you stay focused and also help you to read through the title or abstract easily. And like many other tools that would happy to involve some machine learning based function to help people to work more efficiently. And Covidence also promote his machine learning based function, which the first one is the RCT classifier, which could help you differentiate whether paper is randomized control trial or not easily. So according to Covidence, the performance is pretty good and reliable. Another function is inside the title and abstract screening. Here, you can sort the paper by the relevancy. So this website sort the paper in the order according to your previous screening behaviors. So it actually learned from how you screen the paper to help you to rearrange the paper. So this is the title and abstract screening, and this is the first screening step. And you can see here, after you reading the title and abstract, you can choose whether this paper is highly relevant, and then you may choose yes. And if you're not sure, just choose maybe. And if you think this is definitely not relevant, just choose no. And for the paper, you choose maybe and yes, they will all go into the second step, which is the full text screening. So and then the second step is the full text screening, and then we click continue, and then we can do the full text screening. And sometimes if the paper is directly searched by Covidence, he will upload the full test for you. So you can directly click in and then read the full test. But sometimes they will not, and then you will have to click the DOI here and then download the paper by yourself, or you have to, sometimes you have to search the title by yourself on the Google Scholar or other database to download the full test. And I would strongly recommend you to upload the full test here, because like more than 2, as we said, more than 2 reviewers will do this work. So we don't have to fund the full test by everyone. So for doing this full test screening, you will have to, you can choose include, and then it directly goes into the data extraction step. And if you choose the exclude, you will have to assign a reason that why you exclude it, and it's an important, also important data. You have to report it in your manuscript. And you can also edit this script to put some reasons that's specific related to your study here. Okay. So I can show you that you can click exclude, and maybe this data, maybe this it's not relevant to your study design or not the correct outcomes, and then you choose it and then confirm, and then it will disappear from the screening part. And then let's go to the data extraction part. And here you can design your data extraction form and quality assessment templates directly on this website. And everyone could extract data on this website. And after that, you can export all the data here in a CSV formats. And it's quite easy because when everyone is doing the data extraction on this platform, you can do it in the same format without using Excel or other spreadsheet. So let's have a look. So when we go to the data extraction templates, you could design your own data extraction formats, which can be designed in several formats. It could be a test input. It could also be some multiple choice, and it could also be tables that allow you to extract the outcome of the papers systematically. And after that, you click publish, and this form could be accessed by all the reviewers, and they could start a data extraction step. So the procedure is quite similar for designing the quality assessment template. You just input the question here and then give the option. And usually people input the question according to some standardized checklists, for example, the JBI checklist. Okay, and let's start the data extraction. Since you already upload the full test on the left-hand side, you could just do it together. When you look at the extraction form, you could also search the relevant information from the full test, and then you can just copy the relevant information to answer the question in your data extraction form. And this is quite straightforward. And after that, after doing the data extraction, let's just go to the quality assessment. And then here you can choose the answer to the question based on your understanding to this paper. And also you can copy and paste the supporting text here. And then the next reviewer or the people who is going to solve the conflicts will look at the supporting text and look at the decision and make the final decision. So everything could be done on this platform before data analysis. So this is all about this platform I would like to talk. And I also want to share some useful website that it might help you conducting the systematic review. I will put it in the chat box below, and thank you everyone for your attention.
Thank you very much, Bella. Do we have any questions for Bella? You can raise your hand and ask the questions, or you can drop your questions into the chat box so we can talk. And then Bella, I have several questions. So my first one is like, when you use several databases and extract data into this competence, like how is the competence by itself identify the duplicates, or do you need to do it by yourself by going one-on-one to remove the duplicates?
Okay, let me share the screen again. So for remove the duplicate, mostly it will be removed directly by Covidence when you import the data, when you import the reference using the import function. But sometimes there will be still some duplicates, and then you will have to remove it manually when you're doing the screening. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's one more question. Are there any training resources or support materials available in Covidence itself in their free version where our participants do some hands-on work? Or do you have any recommendations to check on how to get this hands-on experience? At least some demos apart from going through our recording again?
Yeah, and here I think every people who log in this website will have one free quota for start a new review. And also, if you want to just practice how to use this website, you could click the demo review here, and then it will lead you through how to do a literature review step by step with this platform. And yeah.
Okay. And are there any questions to Bella? Cannot see. Yeah, and then let me ask the one last question regarding this thing. So when I understand that you generate huge amount of data with this Covidence, and how protective or how confidential or how Covidence ensure this data security and confidentiality for users conducting their systematic review?
Well, I think because everyone logs in with their personal accounts, and they also share a private link to their collaborators to ask them to join this platform together and working together, but it was within a separate workspace. I think it will be relatively reliable, and also because all this data is actually a secondhand data, which is from the publication. So I think this data will not be as sensitive as those clinical data. So I think it will still be a good platform for conducting the systematic review. Yeah, thanks for all the questions.
Thank you very much, Bella. And let's move to the final speaker. So that's Nannur Rahman. He completed his BSc Honors and MSc Applied Nutrition and Food Technology program from Islamic University, Bangladesh, and he pursues a master's degree in science in human nutrition at Ghent University in Belgium with the support of the VLIRUOS scholarship. So after that, he worked in the Department of Food Technology and Nutrition Sciences at Maulana Bashani Science and Technology University, Bangladesh. Nannur then decided to advance his career by pursuing further studies under Hong Kong PhD fellowship scheme, and his research project focuses on the modulation of gut microbiota under the influence of probiotics, antibiotics, and other functional food. So today he's going to talk about strategic approaches to systematic review development, Prospero registration, and meta-analysis techniques. Over to you, Nannur.
Thank you, Dhumi. Very good afternoon from Bangladesh to all attendees. And thanks to Bella and Nilakshi for your nice presentation. Let me share my presentation. My presentation is strategic approaches to systematic review, development, Prospero registration, and meta-analysis techniques. So my presentation has some contents, including systematic review protocol development and its registration, and also meta-analysis of the extracted data. So systematic review protocol is a roadmap for any types of review, and it gives a transparency for the methods that can be adhered during the entire process of the review. And that review contains a comprehensive description of the systematic review, and the protocol should have a comprehensive or specific objectives and a specific question that should have a rationale why we are going to do this systematic review. And these methods intend to follow the extracting the data that is needed for our analysis. And also the protocol should have a specific outcomes that we will extract from the data. And it should have some steps through which we can reduce the bias. Because the many publications, as Dulmini said, have the bias, even the data, even in publication, in methodology, in every step, there is some bias. So during review process, during extracting data and analysis, there are some steps through which we can reduce the bias. And then, actually, why do we need a review protocol? Actually, it gives outline in a clear and transparent manner. And then it can minimize bias that already told by guarding against arbitrary decision making. It also reduces the variation from the methods, because sometimes we decide methods that will be used to extract data in the review process. But after having the limitation of the data or some deviation, we just change our mind to do another things or other methods. That's why if we have a specific protocol, then we could reduce the variation of the methods that already intended. And also it will help us to adhere the planned objectives and outcomes. And this protocol should have some steps. So we should follow this step, that is should have a formulation of a question, specific question. Then it should have inclusion and exclusion criteria of the studies. Then we should choose a specific database through which we can extract the data. And then we need to screen and select the studies that already explained by Bella, how to do screening. And then we should have a specific data extraction and summarizing procedure. And then we need to have a bias assessment plan through which software or which methodology we will use to assess the bias. And finally, we need to analyze the data. There are different types of software, and some dedicated software for systematic review we could use. Let's see how we can design a specific question. A question should be clear, well-formed, and it can be used. There are different types of frameworks we can use to define a question. And clinical questions can be two types, basically background or foreground question. Some things we need to ask what will be happened if there are some intervention or something, or sometimes we want to see what has happened of some public health problem or something. Then designing a question, there are some specific frameworks, for example, PICOs, that available use the most familiar framework to define microbiological or any clinical question. There is another one, PEO, that is also used in different types of research settings to explain any types of prevalence study. And there is another one, SPICE. This is also important to do any types of research in sociology or psychology. Before finalize your question, we need to conduct some scoping searches to help define our concepts and identify additional terminology. And also, I need to say if a systematic review has been done before or recently on the same topics. And also, we need to confirm that there is enough evidence to answer this question to finalize the systematic review and meta-analysis. So what should be a research question? I brought two examples here. So here is one. what's the prevalence of asymptomatic methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus colonization of the upper respiratory tract in younger children. Here, if we see the younger children is a population, and then Staphylococcus aureus is exposure, and then the colonization of the MRSA, it's the outcomes. So it follows the PEO framework. And then there's another question: what is the effect of probiotics compared to placebo in decolonizing pathogenic bacteria from the human intestine? So here, if we see, it follows the PICO, where human being is the population, and the probiotics is the intervention, and placebo is the comparator, whereas the decolonizing pathogenic bacteria, that is an outcome. So it's PICO, but in some study we see they follows PICOs, like if the results come from RCTs, randomized clinical trials. So RCTs, that is study design. So there are some question we can see. So they specifically mention what types of study we should include in our analysis. Well, then we need to define the included and excluded characteristics. So what types of characteristics we should have for included study, that Bella already mentioned during presenting of evidence. So here, just briefly, we need to choose what types of study, like cross-sectional, observational, or longitudinal study. Then we should have specifically designed what types of problem or what types of events we should include. Then we should mention the respondents, how many respondents at least the study should have to include in this review. And we need to mention what types of language we will include, because many language paper are published in the different types of databases. So we need to mention which language. And then we should mention the full text articles or abstract or something. And then we should have a specific time limit. And then we need to select the subjects, what types of subjects or respondents we should include, like male or female or children. Then, of course, we need to have the exclusion criteria. So if we choose like observational study, then other than observational study, we should exclude them. And like if we choose to study the methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, so we should exclude all other bacteria. And then if we choose like English language, then we have to exclude all other language like this. So after having inclusion and exclusion criteria, then we can choose the study for our review process. Then need to choose the databases. What types of databases we should search to include the study. Basically, choosing a database varies according to the research topic. For example, a clinical microbiology systematic review topic may search PubMed, Web of Science, Medline, Embed, Scopus, etc. So for the database search, almost all those databases, they have the same process to search the research topics. For better, I will show you how to search in PubMed.
Yes, we can see it now. Yeah.
Can you see all the?
Yes, we can see all. Yes, yes.
Okay. So, I'm just going through Google and then typing PubMed. Here. So if we have this interface, then we will see the advanced. So just need to click in advanced. Then here there is search box. So we should write the specific topic or keyword to search the data. For example, for study of probiotics on gut microbiota and metabolic disease, we need to write here probiotics. And then for here, all fields. So all fields mean everywhere. If there is probiotics, then it will show the paper or study. It's better to choose the fields in Thai ab. That means title and abstract. And then we need to add this, the query box. And then we need to add in the search history. So here is the result. That search history, it shows 1105 paper. And then, for example, if we use like gut microbiota, then we need to add here, and then adding to search history. So we have results for gut microbiota, total 796. And then if we choose like metabolic diseases, yes. And then we add here, here's the results like 177 totals. So after getting all those search history, now we can combine using Boolean operator. For example, 1, so here just hash 1, and then using Boolean operator and then hash 2, then hash 3. So just need to click the add to the history. So we'll have total, here is no paper mentioned. Metabolic diseases, gut microbiota, probiotics. Okay, we can see the filter. Here is the filtering option. So if we check out this filtering option, just previously I have used the PubMed, and there was some filtering option for mail paper. So what we have got here, there was no paper that is started only mail. That's why we didn't have any paper. So now if we look the same results, just adding into the query hash 1 and hash 2. So we're just adding probiotics and gut microbiota. Then if we add into the history, then there is 142 paper. This is the process. So we just need to add the keyword, and then we need to add the history, and we can just add what we need. Sometimes we may need the gut microbiota and probiotics or something. So we can use the Boolean operator or to have the more papers. So after having this paper, just we can select the filter. There is in the left side filtering option. So if we choose like 2015 to 2024, then the result decreased to 118. And then we can choose only the full text, because we have already excluded the gray literature or some newspaper. So we need to choose full text. Then if we need to choose observational study, then we have to filter only observational study, not and meta-analysis, clinical trial or other thing. Then our study have reduced to only this one. So this is the process. We need to select the keyword, and after entering keywords, then we will have many paper. And then after our requirement, we can choose the filter. After filtering, then the paper we will have, we need to import in Covidence. We can have other keywords like Staphylococcus aureus, gastrointestinal tract, GISTRO, intestinal TRACT tract. So we can use the Boolean operator here without entering into add to the history. Last if we add with and, then we can directly add to the history. There is no paper of observational study because we have chosen already the filter of observational study. There is no study of Staphylococcus aureus and gastrointestinal tract. But if we use separately, but need to check the filter first. So before using paper, we need to clear all those filters to search any other new topics. So if we go in advanced, here, TRACT. Just add with and, then if we search, there is now 1,912 results. So this is the process. So if anyone want to search, then you need to define the keywords and then click in the advanced search. After getting in advanced search, then we need to use our keyword. And then after having the results, we need to use the filter according to our requirements. Then after filtering, then we can decrease the number of papers, and the final number of papers we need to include in the covidence. So this is the data extract study search from the databases. Then now we can go to the analysis part again. Hope you can see my presentation now.
Yes, we can see it.
So this is the process I have already showed here. Then after selection of study, we need to import the data to the covidence for screening that Bella already explained. So the covidence, that is the software, dedicated software for screening the data study. But there are other screening software. For one, this is Ryan, that is also very familiar. And the another one is DisTDR that also give the same platform to screen the study for systematic review and meta-analysis. And then Prospero. So Prospero is a dedicated link or dedicated website for registering any systematic review or meta-analysis. This is very well known. Okay, to register in a Prospero, there is some requirements that you should have a full protocol before registration, and the registration forms you need to complete, and it should be in English, and the submission must be made before data extraction. Once the protocol is done, it's highly recommended to register. And registering protocols help to reduce the repetition and compare research methodology across systematic reviews. It increases the potential communication with interested researchers. Also provide greater transparency and also identifies whether there are any reviews already underway in the same topic. There are some more protocol registration website, for example, INSPLAY, Systematic Review Register, JBI, and also Campbell Systematic Reviews. So let's have a look on the protocol registration website. This is the Prospero. Let's go to website again to check. I hope this time it will work. Sorry for disturbance. Okay.
Yes, we can see. Yes.
The Google. I'm writing the Prospero just. So here. This is Prospero website. Here, any types of systematic review we can register, or we can check if the same systematic review is ongoing somewhere. To do this, we need to log in first. So I have already have a credential here, so I'm logging in. And then after getting the before registering the review, we need to search the Prospero. Is there any other same review topic is ongoing or have already published? To do this, like probiotic, sorry, gut microbiota and metabolic diseases. So I'm just writing gut microbiota and metabolic diseases. So if this is my review topic, we need to search any other review or the same review topic is already going on somewhere or someone doing this. So if you click here, then there is 26 records on gut microbiota and metabolic disease. So we can curiously say, is there any topic relevant to my question? So if there is, definitely we need to exclude those topics because we cannot do that. It already started somewhere. So this is the process. If there is no any hit list, like our question was, effect of probiotics in reducing colonization pathogens. So if this is the question, we can try the search. Sorry, my website is very slow, I think. Internet. Oh, that means it shows that no hits for this line. So effect of probiotics in reducing colonization of pathogens. We can start to review on this question because no one has been registered these topics in the Covidence. Sorry, in the Prospero. So we can now check how to register a protocol. Here, if you log in this Prospero website, so under this page, you will see the register a new review or search Prospero. So we already checked Prospero. Then we can register here. Just need to click register your review. So here is some steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just we need to check inclusion criteria, or we need to search Prospero, that is here, and then start registering process. So here basically there is two types of review. One is animal review, another is human review. So if it is human related, then we need to click here. Then there is a question like, will your registration record be in English? Yes, definitely it should be in English. Is this scoping literature or mapping review? So if it is scoping, means the first time review or like a pilot review to do some big review, then it should be yes. But our one, if the total systematic review, it should be no. Then does your review include a health outcome with direct relevance to human health? So as we have chosen the human, so it should be in human health. Even if it is in the animal, then it should be relevant to human health. Otherwise, Prospero will not register. So it's yes. Then is this a Cochrane review? So Cochrane review is different thing because Cochrane is the another dedicated software to do the worldwide research, systematic review for a decision making of policy level. But we are not doing that Cochrane review, so we should choose no. Then is this a mini or partial review done for a training course or classwork? No. Then please check Prospero for similar systematic reviews before proceeding. So we have already checked there is no any similar. There are no similar reviews. So have you written a protocol? Yes, already we have written a protocol because if you start registration, then you should have a protocol. So yes, then well more than one person be involved in systematic review because already we saw in screening.
Sorry, Nanu, you were disconnected. Feel free to share it again. We cannot hear you. You mute.
Sorry, just the internet problem.
Yeah, it's fine. You can understand. You can share the.
I got the problem. So in my sharing option, so there is only two in the app and above this so see more window. So I didn't click there. So while I see more, under the see more option, there is my window. That's why I was getting problem to share.
Okay, now we can see the website that you shared.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So here the preliminary searches. So still they're asking question whether what's the stage of our review. So it started not completed. If it is completed, then no point to register. So it started. Piloting the study selection process. So a process to determine whether the study selection criteria will identify studies eligible for inclusion in the project. Okay, started. Full search. Full screening of search results against eligibility criteria. Data extraction. We just need to click, then they will give you the link to register your review. Sorry. So here, this is the original form for systematic review registration. So after having this form, we need to give all our information. For example, the review title, what's the title or question we have already formulated. And then original language title, it should be in English. Then anticipated or actual start date. So when it started or will start, and then anticipation of completion date, when it could be completed, and then stage of review at time of the submission, then contact name, as I have opened and login, so they already taken my name, and then name, contact email, contact address. So these are the very basic information, but here the grant number, conflict of interest, review question. So here it starts from the review added information. So it's a review question. What the questions we have already formulated, we need to write here. And then search strategy. So those we have got from PubMed. Those search strategy we need to write here. And then URL to search strategy. If there is any URL, we can write here, or directly we can copy paste here. Then condition or domain being studies. So what types of condition, public health problem or any domain, if we already defined there. So first we can copy here, or we need to write here. Then we need to define the participants or population, as we have shown in the question. There is specific participants or population should have. So we need to write there, and then we need to have intervention or exposure. then we should have comparator or control. So if it is an interventional study, we will have a control or placebo. So we need to write here what is the actual comparator to have the effects. Then types of study to be included. So what types of study we have written in our protocol that should be included here. And then context, that means some background and the rationale of the study, why we are going to do that, we need to write here. Then the main outcomes we need to select and need to write here. And then the measures of effect. Here, what types of statistical data we want, like relative risk or ratio risk difference. So we need to write here. And then if we have secondary outcomes or secondary any interest, then we need to write here. Of course, we need to include here also how we can measure that outcomes, need to write. And then data extraction process, how we will extract the data, that should be included in the protocol, and we'll write here. And then we already discussed, we need to write clearly how we can reduce the bias. So the bias assessment plan should be included here. And then strategy for data synthesis. So we should have concrete strategy, how we can synthesize the data. We need to write here. And then analysis of subgroup or subsets. If we plan to do any subgroups or subset from the original study groups, then we need to write here. And then we need to write the method of review, what types of method we will use here, like meta-analysis or systematic review already here. If we mention more than systematic review, like meta-analysis, narrative synthesis, or intervention study, then we just need to click here. It can be more than one. And then health area of the review. So if we know the health area of the review, then we should mention by clicking the box. And then we need to select the language here. Then country, in which country we are conducting the study, we should include. And then other registration details. If the protocol have already been registered somewhere, then we need to write here. And then we should put the URL here. Then dissemination plan. Of course, we have already mentioned we will disseminate this study results. So we should briefly write here how we want to disseminate, like in conference or in publication or journal. Here. And then we need to write some key words to explain our the original study. Then details of any existing review of the same topic by the same authors. If some authors can do like a preliminary study have already been published, he or she can update their results, so they can do the same review again. So need to write here that this is this stage, so we are doing the third review or second review, and the first one has already published, like this. Then we need to include current review status that already mentioned, so it's already taken. And if we have any additional information, just we need to disclose here, so we can write here. This is all. Then after having all the 40 questions, then we can submit this data. So we need to remember that if there is any discrepancy of the protocol or any things need to clarify more, so the Prospero people or Prospero authority will contact and they will ask to review again for registration. So this is all for registration. Now I will go for analysis, how you can analyze the data after extraction. So is it possible to share? Is it okay?
Yes,
So
we
this
can
is the,
see.
yeah, sure, thank you. So data after registration, then simultaneously we can do the data extraction, screening, and then analysis. So this is data extraction and summarizing process here. We need to have a specific form that Bella mentioned. So when we do the screening and full text screening, we should have this type of forms, because what types of information we need. So according to this form, we can just do in the covidence. So and then we can fill up this form and we can directly take in the information from that, and then we can scrutinize using Excel sheet. And then there is risk of bias assessment and data analysis. So for bias assessment or analysis, we can use Cochrane collaboration tool to assess the risk of bias, or JBI critical appraisal checklist, or we can do bias analysis in meta-analysis software like Rebman or Jamovi. And there are some quantitative bias analysis. We can use the Eggers test or Beggs test, and also we can do the funnel plot to identify specific bias in any study. And then data analysis. To do analysis, there are some dedicated software for systematic review. For example, Rebman 5.4 we are using. So Rebman is a dedicated software. So this is usually used for interventional study. And then Jamovi package, that is our package inherent here. So it can be used for prevalence study or any other interventional study. And also there is another software MedCal, that is very good software we can use. And there is our package MATLAB tool that is also used for meta-analysis. Then actually meta-analysis, this is examination of data from a number of independent study. So after having this, we have a pool data. So we can use this data to formulation a policy or something. And for analysis, we can do meta-analysis using this bias identification and analysis of pooled effects of the results, and then analysis of a specific group of interest. We can do regression analysis, and we can do the post hoc analysis. So here I just mentioned, the Dulmini asked, so if there are some bias still, so is there any option to do? Yes. What we do for during analysis, for example, if we have too many data deviation or heterogeneity, so we do sensitivity analysis. For example, like there are 10 studies, so one study carries too much weight. So we just exclude this one, and then rest of 9 we analyze again, and we do the t-test or ANOVA test to compare whether there is any significant difference or not. So if we find there are significant difference having this 9 and having those 10, so we just exclude the number 10 study which have the most weight. So that is one way to reduce the bias. Here, so meta-analysis and systematic reviews, still if we look the hierarchy of scientific evidence, then we see even any other studies like randomized control trial, cohort study, case control study, the meta-analysis of systematic reviews has the more power to have the intention to study any types of policy or any types of like medical diagnosis, medical methods, or any advice. Before giving that, if we have that meta-analysis and systematic reviews of those clinical trials or randomized clinical trials, then that will be very robust. Sorry. So now let's see how we can analyze the results. So I have already prepared some arbitrary data to show. So I will show here the Rebman, how to use Rebman to analyze the prevalence data, and also how to analyze the interventional data. Okay. So this is review manager. Can you
Yes,
can
yes,
you
we
see
can see.
the?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is the review manager software. So here we can download it by writing in the Google just review manager. So this is free software. There are two options to use this software. One is downloading this software, another is directly use the Cochrane website, and in the online version we can use also that, but it's better to use the download version. So here after downloading, then need to install, and then we can choose the new wizard. So here we need to write what, like, next. So we need to select what types of study we are doing here. So if we do any prevalence study, then we need to write the flexible review, and then need to click the next. And then here need to write the title, for example, prevalence of MRSA. Then just click, and then it's a full review. So we are just finishing here. So this is, we have set here. Now we need to add the study. So we have already screened and we know what types of study we have. So after selection of study, we need to include the study here by adding the study. So here we need to start writing the study. For example, COVID-7. So this is one study. I just clicking next, 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 next. So one study I have added. Then here we need to select add another study in the same section. If we do nothing, then we need to again we need to take in, because we have more than one multiple study. So we need to add all the study here, and then we need to add another study in the same section. So continue. Then 2011. So I have added another study. Then next, next. We need to add another study here and continue. So 2018, and then we're adding and continue some more data. So if we finish those 5 study, then we just need to click nothing and then finish. So those study have already included here. We can see the Gomez, Joel, Rubel, and Chosen. So these 4 study I have included here. And then after having those, we need to add the data and add the comparison. For example, if we have the title like prevalence study MRSA. So having to add an outcome under the new comparison, we need to have outcome. So if we do the prevalence study here, the main difference is we need to click the generic inverse variance. So if we click generic inverse variance, then we can analyze the prevalence data in the Rebman software. Otherwise, we need to click dichotomous for any types of interventional data. Then we need to formulate the outcome name, like we have already prevalence of MRSA. Then it's only prevalence data, so no need any graph label. We're clicking next. Then it's inverse variant. There are 2 analysis model. One is fixed effect, another is random effect. So if it is fixed effect model, if we choose, that means all the study have same effects of same types of public health problem. If we use random effects, then there is some flexibility to have different types of effects of same public health problem. But here we will choose the fixed effect because we have already choose the study that have only one public health problem. And then here, so it's prevalence study, so we need to choose the effect name prevalence. Here, so I'm clicking next, and then this is the confidence interval, what we want, like 95%. And then we can click next. And here, so the graph level, we have only prevalence data, so no need to any label. And then scale we need to find out, so it's only one. And then we can arrange the result according to effect size and click next. So we'll do nothing. Then we have designed our study. Then we have here the outcome. So if we click here, then there is a table. So we need to fill up this table and we need to add the study. So if I click in the outcome, then there is the add the study data. So can select the study we have chosen already. Then there is a for study. Now we have to give here the prevalence data and standard error data. So in the study we have selected for prevalence data. So they have all prevalence, but we might not have the standard error data. Therefore, we need to calculate the standard error. Okay, I need to show another screen here. Can you see the Excel sheet, please? Hello?
Yes, we can see, yes.
Okay. So here is the prevalence study data I have just prepared. So this is the study and the prevalence data here for 5 study. There's it mentioned that 89% prevalence, 72, 85, something like. And then we have just calculated P just divided by 100. And then sample size I just taken from the study, but it's arbitrary. So this sample size and calculation of standard error, it means the SE equal to square root of prevalence multiplied by 1 minus prevalence divided by sample size. So here I have already calculated and I will copy from here. Okay, here is the standard error, so I have already copied, and then we need to give the prevalence data. So here is the prevalence data I have already. Yes, so if I give the prevalence data and standard error, so here is the forest plot already I have made the software made. So you can see this is the forest plot. This is the actually meta-analysis of the prevalence data. Here the pool prevalence we see is 0.81 with confidence interval 0.77 to 0.84. And then if we look at the heterogeneity, there is the significant heterogeneity between the study. So I square is 90%. Therefore, we need to see where is the actual heterogeneity, because we have included the arbitrary data. That's why it shows high heterogeneity. For example, the weight, if we look at the shows in the first one, it's only 10%. But the highest one is 38.7%. That means there is very big difference between the weight. That's why the heterogeneity is very high. So if we reduce this study and again we analyze between these three, then the heterogeneity will be reduced. Another thing, there is only 4 study. If we have more than 10 or more than 20 study, then heterogeneity will be reduced. And according to systematic review analysis, then the heterogeneity should be below 50% to have a low heterogeneity, that is acceptable range. And if it is 50 to 70%, that is medium or moderate. And if it is above 70%, then we call high heterogeneity among studies. So this is the prevalence study, but if we want to do analysis for interventional study, then we need to choose the different types of analysis. For example, I already choose a different wizard, and it should be an intervention review. Then we need to define what is the intervention, for example, probiotics and health problem, decolonization, sorry, a reduction of diarrhea. Just TIARHOE. So I'm selecting the health problem diarrhea, and we are giving probiotics to cure the diarrhea from the patient. So clicking next, then it's the full review and finish. So there is another review. I just formulate the probiotics for curing of diarrhea. And then we need to include again the study. So include the study, we need to select here. And we are adding study at the same process, but the analysis will be different. For study ID, like here, so next, we're adding continuing because we need to add some more study. We're continuing, we can add more. Okay, we have finished the addition of data. So now we have finished here. Then we need to go to data analysis and need to add comparison. So use of probiotics for the treatment of diarrhea. Then just we need to add the outcome, what we want outcome for this analysis. So this is dichotomous study, and then clicking next. So name the probiotics treating diarrhea. Here the group 1 is experimental, or we can see the probiotics. The group 2, level 2, we can see comparator or placebo or control, anyone. So if we have placebo, then we'll write placebo. If we have control arm, then we write control. Then here there is an analysis model. We are using fixed effect model or random effects, any one. If we have the normal distribution of the study effects, then we can use fixed effect model. To do the normal distribution, we need to run in a regression model to get it whether it is normally distributed the study results or not. If it is not normally distributed, we assume, then we should choose random effects. Then we need to use the Mantel Hansel to analyze this data. And for the any dichotomous model or clinical data, we should choose either odd ratio or risk ratio. It's better to use odd ratio. Then we need to choose the confidence interval 95%. And then here, so reverse the left side of graph, which I call probiotics. Then here placebo. And then we can choose the effect size, and then next. So we can choose nothing. So here is our outcome. Then we need to add the study. So here we see the table. We need to add the study. So we have included this 4 study here. Then we have these 4 study here to include the data. We have 2 arms, probiotic and placebo arm. So we need to add the probiotic data and placebo data. I have already prepared that data for interventional study. So we have probiotic events, and we also have the placebo events here. Well, here, if you look at that probiotics and placebo, and if we choose the forest plot here, so here we see the probiotics is helpful to treating the diarrhea, because the total odd ratio is 0.79, and you see the diamond box that is in the probiotic side. That means favoring probiotics. And also there is the placebo. There is only 1 study that favors placebo, but other 3 that favoring probiotics. That means the probiotics that is successfully treating the diarrhea in the patient. So this is the meta-analysis, and when you will have more study, you need to just add here, and you will have the data like probiotic events and total, placebo events and total. Then they will calculate the odds ratio with the heterogeneity and overall effect, whether it is significant or not. So this is the meta-analysis forest plot. But here we can generate some more data. For example, if we go to figure, add figure, we already saw the forest plot. We can check the funnel plot to see the study heterogeneity. Here, this is the funnel plot. So here, if we see, there is only 2 study, 3 study in the left side and 1 study in the outside, but it's between the confidence interval, there is 3 study and 1 study that is outside of the confidence interval. That means there is some publication bias according to funnel plot, but it's very low. Still, it's acceptable. It's if it is somewhere very distance from the confidence interval, then we can say that this study should be excluded. Here there is another option for bias analysis. I will show now. Well, here that is excluded study characteristics. Here is the characteristics of included study. So if we want to do the risk of bias table here, then we can add the specific bias. So according to JBI guidelines, we need to choose, for example, new item. You need to choose what is this, like selection bias table, that's artisan bias. So you just need to write according to your JBI guidelines what types of bias this is, and according to bias name we need to input here. So this is the bias item, and we need to write, we can change here, and according to bias table, we need to read the study paper. And then we need to write here. So if it is low risk, then we need to click low risk. If it is high risk, then we need to click high risk according to JBI guidelines or any other bias guidelines. If it is unclear risk, then we need to clarify here why it is unclear. We can write like not mentioned. And then if it is low risk, still we should explain, but it's not necessary. But for unclear risks, of course, we have to mention here what's the reason for unclear risks. Otherwise, the data summary will not be include that unclear risk part. So here, high risk, if it is unclear risk, then we should write the reason. Then here, unclear risk, if it is, then we should write the reason. Then low risk, high risk, high risk, low risk. Then here also same thing, just need to continue with the study data. When I just continued the data for the bias analysis. But here on the left side, we need to mention what types of bias this is. And then according to that bias in the study, you need to read the methodology or the results. Then we will have the bias summary or the bias explanation, whether it is reporting bias or whether it is the bias according to methodology or the selection bias or blinding bias, that is. So here I just write this 4. Then if we go to the figures, then need to add the figure, and we have already input the data for bias summary. Then click the next, then we have the bias summary data figure. So here we have the bias risk of bias, and also we can add the bias summary, risk of bias summary here. This is the risk of bias summary. So this is how we can analyze the bias in the publication, and also we can analyze the interventional study in the meta-analysis by forest plot and funnel plot, and we can do the prevalence study in the RevMem. And also there are another software that is also dedicated for systematic review. I just show you how to do that. That's very simple and easy. So those who have this software, that is free software we can download from internet. So this is the software here. So if we go to data, then here the study events and sample size. We just need to so this is study. So here this is variable, it is study, so it's nominal data, and data type it's just as usual, like A 2007, B 2010, C 2020, D 2018. So E 2019. So this is 5 study, and if it is prevalence study, then they should have the events, that actually how many events or how many people are having those specific problem of total sample size. So we need to write the events. So event is prevalence data. It should be continuous and it trigger like total sample size 120, 100, 130, 140, 110. So if this is 5 samples and if this has the sample size, so it should be a continuous data. And then we need to find out the events or prevalence from the study and need to write the total number, like say 70 of 120 or 40 of 100, 45 of 130, then 60 of 140 and 50 of 110. So these 5 study have this type of data. And then if we click here in the measure, then there is a proportional or prevalence study. If it is dichotomous, then we need to dichotomous study. If it is we have correlation coefficient, then we can do this here. Just for prevalence study, we have proportion. So here, and then we need to choose the events or frequency of the study, then sample size, and then study label. So here is the output. So we can see the result here. So this is the prevalence estimated. And then here is the forest plot. And then here is the publication bias, but this is quantitative. So if we want to analyze the quantitative bias here, then we need to run in this software. So here they will show you regression test for funnel plot asymmetry, whether this is symmetrical or asymmetrical. If it is asymmetrical, that means there is bias, but it's 0.361. That means it is not asymmetric, so it should be not symmetric, it's asymmetric. That's why the data is outside of the confidence interval. So there is a publication bias. And then we can test the rank correlation test for funnel plot asymmetry that also show the p-value. So still the p-value is more than 0.5. That means there is publication bias. And also they keep the fail rate and N analysis. So this is also gives a p-value. That means if you have the p-value less than 0.05, that means there is some study that contains the publication bias. So according to this quantitative bias analysis, we also conclude that whether there is any publication bias or not. If there is, then we can see from the weighted study, and then we can exclude those during sensitivity analysis, and then again we can run the forest plot and see whether the pooled odd ratio or pooled prevalence ratio that is significantly different with the previous one. If there is significant difference, then we should exclude those, and finally we have to do again. And if there is no significant difference between the later and former, then we can use the previous one and say that there is no significant difference between excluding the more weighted study or more biased study and the total study. Yes, Dulmini. I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, this is all from my side. And if there is any question, and sorry for disturbance because the electricity problem in my room.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
fine.
had, so yeah, there is some problem.
Yeah,
So
but thank you very
you all.
much. Thank you so much for the very detailed presentation and hands-on work. So we have a question from the audience. That's from Nelum Pamoda Handapangoda, and it's asking, are there any standard references to use in risk of bias assessment in prevalence studies where we do not have an intervention? So this was actually before this, we got this question just before you talking about your JBI criteria. So maybe you can give a brief.
Which one? Can you tell me again the question?
Yes, it's about are there any standard references to use in risk of bias assessment in prevalence studies?
Well, for prevalence study, that is same as for meta-analysis, like a dichotomous study, we can do the bias analysis in Rebman. And for quantitative bias analysis, there are two references, that Eggers and Beggs test. So this quantitative analysis I didn't show due to time limitation. I already spent in my 1 hour. And if you want to see someone, so just if you personally text me or something, I can show you. So there is the MedCalc software that can give you the details of Eggers and Beggs test. So that is give also p-value for specific bias analysis for any study. And for reference of prevalence study, if you see in the Cochrane collaboration guidelines, there is a Google. If you just write Cochrane collaboration handbook or guidelines, then there is different types of study, and they have in details what types of guidelines we should use for prevalence study, what types of guidelines we should use for intervention study, and what types of guidelines we should use for case study. That is specifically mentioned there. So basically for interventional study, we use the JBI, and JBI guidelines, they will have also guidelines for prevalence study. JBI is Zona Briggs Institute, and they are very good in review. So we all are using this one. But there are more guidelines, I know.
Yeah, thank you very much. And probably the last question, as we are running out of time. So, like in general, or maybe what is the minimum number of publications that need to do a systematic review and meta-analysis?
Well, that is very good question, Nurmini. Basically, for meta-analysis, we should have minimum 10 study for meta-analysis. If it is below 10, then we should go for the qualitative synthesis of systematic review.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that is also
So,
different.
yeah, thank you very much. And is there any more questions to the speakers today? If no,
Dulmini, for the question regarding the prevalence
yes.
study, so I have dropped in the chat box the JBI critical appraisal for prevalence study, so they can access it from there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Nilakshi. Together, so we quite several participants, they requested the recording. So we have Ursula here. She's our project coordinator. We have your email addresses, and like once we complete the video recording together with this document, we will forward you the recording so that everyone has the enough access. So dear all, so let me take this moment as we bring our workshop on Beyond the Basics, Advanced Techniques in Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis to a close. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your active participation and enthusiastic engagement throughout the sessions. So I extend a special thank to our speakers, Dr. Nilakshi Barua, Ms. Liuyue Bella, and Mr. Nannur Rahman, whose expertise and insights have enriched our understanding of systematic review and meta-analysis. So your contributions have been invaluable in making this workshop a successful one. To all the participants, your enthusiasm and willingness to learn have truly made this event fruitful, and I encourage you to apply this knowledge and techniques you have acquired today in your research pursuit, knowing that they will enhance the rigor and impact of your research research work. So remember, the journey of this learning and discovery doesn't end here. So let's continue to extend ideas, collaborate, and push the boundaries of knowledge in our respective fields. And thank you once again for your active involvement. And I look forward to see you in great steps you will take in your research endurance, and see you all in another workshop like this in future. So thank you very much and see you.